Democratic socialism. For some Americans, those two words represent hope. For others, they represent fear. Depending on who you ask, democratic socialism is either the answer to America's biggest problems or the fastest path to economic disaster. But here's the strange part. Ask 10 people what democratic socialism actually means, and you'll probably get 10 different answers. Some will describe Sweden. Others will describe the Soviet Union. Some think it's just universal health care. Others think it's government taking over everything. So today, let's slow down, put politics aside for a few minutes, and answer one simple question. What is democratic socialism? One of the biggest reasons Americans argue about democratic socialism is because people often mix up four completely different ideas: capitalism, socialism, democratic socialism, and social democracy. Those terms get thrown around constantly, but they're not interchangeable. Imagine if every SUV, pickup truck, and sports car were all called the exact same thing. People would constantly argue about cars without even talking about the same vehicle. That's what's happening in politics. People are often debating different definitions while using the same word. Let's start with the foundation. Socialism is an economic philosophy that argues the people who create wealth should have more control over it. Traditionally, socialism proposes that major industries should be owned by the public, workers, or the government, rather than private investors. The reasoning is simple. If workers build the factories, teach the students, deliver the health care, or produce the products, shouldn't they receive more of the rewards? That's the basic argument. But here's something that's often left out of online debates. There isn't one single version of socialism. There are many different schools of thought. Some favor worker-owned businesses. Others support greater government ownership. Some advocate gradual reform. Others historically supported revolution. That's why simply saying socialism doesn't tell you very much. Democratic socialism separates itself in one major way. Its supporters argue that political and economic change should happen through elections, not through revolution. Instead of overthrowing governments, democratic socialists believe citizens should vote for reforms through the democratic process. Exactly how much government ownership or public control they support varies from person to person. Some focus primarily on expanding healthcare and education. Others advocate for worker cooperatives or stronger public ownership in certain industries. There isn't complete agreement even among democratic socialists themselves. So why does democratic socialism appeal to millions of people? Supporters argue that today's economy increasingly benefits those at the very top, while many working families struggle with rising costs. Housing prices have climbed. Healthcare remains expensive for many Americans. College tuition has increased dramatically over the past few decades. Supporters believe government should guarantee access to essentials like healthcare and education, strengthen labor protections, and reduce economic inequality through taxes and public programs. They argue that a society should be judged not only by how wealthy it becomes, but by how broadly that prosperity is shared. Critics see significant risks. They argue that expanding government programs requires higher taxes, and that more government involvement can reduce efficiency and slow economic growth. Some worry that excessive regulation discourages businesses from investing, hiring, or innovating. Others argue that markets, despite their flaws, generally allocate resources more effectively than governments. Some critics also express concern that increasing state control over parts of the economy could gradually expand beyond what voters originally intended. Supporters disagree with these conclusions, but these concerns are a central part of the debate. This is probably one of the biggest misconceptions in American politics. Countries like Sweden, Denmark, and Norway are frequently described as socialist. Most economists, however, describe them as capitalist economies with large welfare states. Private businesses still exist. People still own property. Entrepreneurs still start companies. The difference is that these countries generally collect higher taxes to fund broader public services. So where does that leave us? Democratic socialism isn't simply communism. It isn't identical to the Nordic model, and it isn't one single policy or blueprint. Like many political philosophies, it's a broad category that contains different ideas and different priorities. Whether you believe it's the right direction for America depends on your views about the balance between markets, government, and individual responsibility. Do you think America should move closer to democratic socialism, stay with its current system, or try something entirely different? Leave your thoughts in the comments, and if you enjoy breaking down complicated political topics without all the shouting, subscribe to Decoded Media. We have a lot more to explore.